Take 45. We are back. We're trying to answer some questions about the folks from the
Paleo Foundation.
Paleo Foundation.
Some questions about Wired to Eat.
About Wired to Eat. Okay, let's dig in because we have flubbed this up multiple times already.
Jade_Tiffany. I struggle with finding a balance between nutrition, sleep, and exercise. I usually end up focusing on 2 out of the 3 and never seem to find the best combination of all 3 that work best for me. I'd be curious to know your thoughts on balancing those and tips for how to improve.
Really good question, but clearly a brief question and not any ability to really get some back and forth. So what's out of balance? Like, how are these things sliding out? Like, is preparing food then cutting into the time to exercise? How is sleep not being prioritized? So there's a lot of moving parts there. But that said, even though I talk a lot about food, I would still argue that sleep and photoperiod are the most important factor to pin down. We can eat really poorly for a number of years before it's going to kill us. If we are sleeping poorly, underslept, that can kill us in days, weeks, or months. Like, it will just chop us down at the kneecaps really, really quickly. And there's a lot of, again, nuance to that. I had a phone call earlier with somebody, and I was recommending that instead of them going to bed at midnight and sleeping till 8 a.m., that they go to bed at 9 or 10 p.m. and then getting that same 8-hour stretch is going to be very different from a restoration standpoint, insulin sensitivity standpoint. So you definitely need to prioritize the sleep, and then I would probably order out the food as the second importance, and then the exercise third importance. And finally, also, people oftentimes think that they don't have enough time to do X, Y, Z, and how much time are we spending in social media? How much time are we spending farting around doing other stuff that's really not that productive? Oftentimes now my workouts involve doing the gymnastics body stuff in the living room with the 2 girls with me, and it's kind of a shit show. Like, the girls are all over me and it's kind of a mess, and now we have a dog and it's like licking itself and trying to lick me. But I get my workout done, I spend time with the family, I don't have to go to the gym or even go out in the garage. I'm actually doing it with everybody. So I ended up discovering this tract of time that I was certain that I didn't have to do this stuff, and in fact it was right under my nose.
Okay, next question. Happy and healthier. Should we focus on macros, calories, low carb, ketosis, or just whole foods? I'm so confused on it all.
Oh man, I'm confused too. If you asked me 10 years ago, I would have said low carb, done, low carb and sleep, done. It depends on who you are. Like, do you have significant health problems? Do you have really, pretty aggressive physical performance goals? So it really depends on who you are and what you're trying to affect. And so the more, I guess, aggressive the goals are, or maybe the sicker the person is, the more issues they might have, the more attention that they need to pay to all this stuff. And we always start this story from the perspective of whole unprocessed foods on the nutrition side, pay attention to our sleep and photoperiod, get some type of movement that we like, and try to cultivate community. Those are just non-negotiable pieces. From there, we have to get granular, and part of that granularity is the whole backbone of Wired to Eat. We use a 30-day reset to establish an anti-inflammatory, insulin, restorating kind of nutritional approach that also has the lifestyle factors in it. And then we do a 30-day or the 7-day carb test to try to get more granular about how folks are going to do best with their carbohydrate intake. So again, a really simple question and not a particularly simple answer. If folks are taking anything away from their current exposure to Wired to Eat, it's that it depends. Context, context, context.
Okay. Last winning question, Faithful Paleo Family. Can't wait to read your book. I've been eating paleo for a year. If I do the glucose test and find that, for example, rice is okay for me, do I go back to eating rice? Is there any nutritional advantage to it? Beans? Your book may already answer this too.
That's a really good question. And, part of the story here, if you check out some of Marty Kendall's work over at Optimizing Nutrition, he has a great nutrition analyzer where you can put your current dietary intake in, and it will kind of spit out what the dietary recommended guidelines, the percentages that you're getting. And if we look at things like white rice, it's pretty piss poor. Like, it's not that great. But it doesn't mean that you never have that. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't have that. I do think that there's a credible argument for trying to eat as nutrient-dense a diet as you can. But there's also the reality that we can kick our heels up and have some fun with some of these other things. So if you notice that you can handle rice or legumes, and legumes are actually far more nutritious than rice is, so that's just as an aside. But it's a good question. I don't have a perfect answer other than if you want to put some thought towards nutrient density first, then the rice isn't really going to be a massive factor in the diet.
And even like for me, so I've been tolerating the carbs that I've been testing, but it's not like I want to go eat bowls full of rice or beans with every meal going forward. But if we go to Mexican food, I might have my carne asada and I might have a little bit of the rice. So again, it's up to you. And again, based on, are you lean? Are you as healthy as you want to be? Is your fitness level where you want it to be? And
yeah.
All of those things inform your decision to eat those things as well.
Whereas by contrast, when I go to the Mexican food, I might have some of the corn tortillas and that's it. Like I can't add the rice. I can't add the beans on top of that stuff because my glycemic control is much more poor than yours. Damn you. Okay, so thank you guys for the questions. They were fantastic and looking forward to learning how we're wired to eat.